should have kept sleeping. You have got to be kidding me. Harry's wife screamed. There was a patter of feet, then a softer holler up the stairs. I need you to fix the washing machine again. Harry moaned, throwing a pillow over his head to drown out the morning needs. It was only 6 in the morning. Who got up and trumpeted about broken washers at bloody 6 in the morning? Harry's phone buzzed from where it slept on the nightstand. He flopped his hand out from beneath the pillow, desperately looking for the handy-dandy decline call. It buzzed again. Come on, Harry groaned. He ran a palm over his face, coaxing his eyes to open. They slowly obliged. The blinding light reminded him exactly why they were closed. He threw his flower power comforter over his head. The phone rang. Harry silently cried. He really liked sleep, despite popular opinion. He rolled, not having to go extremely far before plopping onto the floor. His wife tended to hog most of the space. Just be careful to never ask her about it, or her habit of night farts. They were not silent, but still very deadly. The phone continued to vibrate. Harry emerged from beneath the tumbled blankets, blindly fumbling for the noisemaker. His hands wrapped around a rough square. He snatched it off the nightstand, retreating into his new blanket fort before answering. Hello? You sound awful, the responder, Mike said. Did you call just to tell me this? Harry croaked, sounding significantly worse. No, but now I can't remember why I called. Why weren't you picking up? Maybe it's because it's 6 in the morning, Harry growled. Oh, right, West Coast time. Totally forgot about that, Mike chuckled. So, it's early back there? Harry rolled his eyes, about to tell Mike just how early it was when his 5-year-old daughter sang up the stairs. Daddy, why is Mommy's face all red? Harry sighed, his head falling into his palm. I just want to sleep. Harry put the phone on the floor and pushed it out of his fort. He eyed it, debating if it was worth following. Something clanged downstairs, so probably. He crawled out, but did not pick up his phone. He may have to wake up, but Mike nonsense shouldn't start till after coffee. Harry slowly rose, his boxers bunching in all the wrong places. He bent down to retrieve Mike when something zoomed past in his peripheral vision. He jumped, but as none of it was graceful, he landed on his butt, the phone pinned beneath him. The sound of Mike through the speaker was a very confusing vibration. A shadow shifted, and Harry squinted at it. A small figure stepped forward, wrapped from head to toe in a black, flowing cloak. The figure raised its head, revealing 2 sparkling, emerald eyes. Everything else was hidden beneath midnight cloth. I'm gonna have to call you back, Harry mumbled into his crotch. The sound must have reached the phone as Mike began speaking louder, this time in protest. Harry shifted and ended the call. He rose, the movement deliberately slow. The figure's eyes followed his face, eventually staring straight up. The figure was tiny. They couldn't have been more than a 4-year-old child. Harry took a step forward, his heart pounding so loudly he couldn't hear his own words. Hello, he whispered. He frowned, glancing for an open window, but all were still bolted. How did you get in here? The child's gaze traveled to the street-side wall. Harry frowned. You came from the street? The child only raised its eyes to his. Lightning burst in Harry's skull, words tumbling over themselves. You can't hide surrender nightmares, don't all fade. Harry slammed hands over his ears, falling to his knees. The words only roared louder. We don't fade so quiet, come join us. He squeezed his eyes shut, the words closer to a siren than actual sounds. Come now, don't we all? He rolled into a ball and whimpered. The sound reached a crescendo, blaring so loudly his heart stopped. Silence. Harry didn't move, his lungs inhaling a shaky breath. Something scratchy brushed his shoulder. He pleaded with his eyes to open. They only did so when the itchy substance ran over his skin once more. The child watched him. The fabric on her face had ridden up slightly, revealing perfectly curved eyebrows scrunched together, but confusion was not held in them. No, it was pity. The child flowed away, the bottom of her cloak hitting his shoulder one last time. She stood in front of the window, the golden morning rays shining around her. They left no shadow. Her feet held no weight, the carpet holding no indentation. She glanced back at Harry and was gone. Her cloak fluttered to the floor, no host holding it captive. It slowly shriveled, compressing until it formed a tiny rectangle. Harry stared at it, his body unwilling to respond. "Daddy, is Mommy's face a tomato?" His daughter cooed. Harry inched toward the rectangle, faces taking shape as he neared. He stopped, hovering above it. It was a photograph, one of his most cherished. His wife grinned up at him, her hair a frizzy cloud around her face. She practically glowed, likely because of a child's head peeking out from that hair. His daughter beamed, her cheeks covered in melted chocolate she had snuck. She tried to deny it, but the evidence was stark against her supple skin. A tiny smile spread across his lips, taking in just how much his daughter's curly hair resembled the puffball of her mother's. Harry stood, leaving the photo where it lay on the ground. He rushed to the stairs, taking them two at a time as he marched to fix the washing machine and fix his wife's face. He reached the bottom, nearly slamming into his daughter. Her arms were crossed over her tiny chest, a foot tapping against the carpet. "What is it, Clarissa?" Harry said, swinging her into his arms. She giggled, burying her head into his chest. "Mommy's face is all red," she demonstrated by tracing an outline around Harry's entire head. "Well, let's see if I can fix that," he murmured past a smile. He waltzed over to the laundry room, only swinging her back to the ground when he spotted his wife. Clarissa landed gracefully on her feet, her long curly hair tickling his legs. "Where have you been? I told you, the washer was broken 30 minutes ago," his wife demanded. "Has it been that long already?" "I would have guessed it had only been a minute," Harry said. "It's a good thing you aren't guessing then, Daddy," Clarissa giggled, her big hazel eyes watching him. He smiled and placed his hand on his wife's back, gently steering her toward the washer. He stopped, feeling her gaze. She studied him, trying to figure out if she could trust him to not break anything. He gave her a small kiss on the cheek, curling her wild hair behind an ear. "I'll be done in a few minutes. Then you can wash all the clothes you want." His wife kept her face in a pout, but as she turned, he saw a stunning smile bloom. She marched back out to the living room, herding their daughter out. A giggle echoed off the walls as Harry began poking and prodding the unhappy machine. He shimmied to the back of the washer, inspecting the connections when a scream broke his thoughts. Harry stopped, frozen, as another scream came from the other room. He yanked his way out from behind the washer, but his boxers caught on a shard of exposed metal, dragging him back. He fumbled with the fabric, trying to free it. To run to his family. To save them. His hands slipped, causing blood to dribble from his fingertips. He kept pulling, twisting, but it only tightened its hold. Their screams stopped. The metal finally sliced through the seam, freeing him. He ran, darting to where his wife and child were playing. They laid as still as ghosts. His daughter was clutched in his wife's arms, dark patches colored where their clothes touched skin. Their hair fanned around them as halos. Two angels. A small rectangle laid upon his wife's shoulder. Harry's legs moved with a mind of their own, coming to stand over the tiny image. A photo of a girl and her mother, both bearing grins and crazy hair that could light the stars. Voices started inside his head once more. Not all nightmares fade over and over, never escape. They grew, a tsunami inside his mind. Join us. I'll wait for you, Daddy. Her face is red. He collapsed, holding his wife and child who turned to ash in his hands. Never here years ago, join us. His skin grew icy, all the warmth lost with his family. His heart, join me, Daddy. I'll wait, join me. Join me. To FRIEENDL YNEIGHBOURHOD. I remembered when I would try to play with the other kids on the block, but it never worked out. It was like I was a square peg trying to fit into the round hole. I should have realized that there was everything wrong with me. I cried to my mother about this, but she told me not to worry, that it would pass, that one day I would find someone who understood me to hell and back. So my foolish, childish heart clung onto this false hope, getting crushed over and over when nothing came to fruition. However, it took a turn for the worst. My parents bought a house in the nicest part of town. It was a lovely gated community called Heaven's Gates. The people there were old money, but didn't seem to mind us. The new money, our neighbor, Miss B, as she liked to be called, even brought us a welcoming gift of a pretty bundt cake. My parents seemed to like her, but something about her just rubbed me wrong. 9-year-old me walked up to my new bedroom, taking in the old paintings that lined the stairway. They were all of people who lived in a time long gone, with pictures as proof of their past existence. I felt their eyes on me as I walked to my room. My room was large with bay windows overlooking the gloomy-looking beach, the clouds above black and heavy with their burden. Queen-sized canopy bed had the prettiest lilac beddings draped on it, and I jumped onto them. I continued to stare out the window at the oddly gloomy scene for a long, long time. When I awoke, night had already fallen. My body was tense, and I had goosebumps, feeling as though I had just been given a light shock of electricity. I soon realized why. A shadowy figure hovered over me. It writhed and undulated as it floated above me, like a calm lake suddenly disturbed. I couldn't understand what I was seeing. I couldn't fathom what this creature was, but it was silhouetted against the darkness of my room. A kind of darkness, older me would probably say, was spun to black. Before me, it began to fade into the darkness, and soon it was gone. That's when I realized I had wet the bed. My parents were stunned, to say the least. They didn't push the issue, and I didn't tell them about the dark figure I'd seen in my room. But from that time on, that shadowy creature was never too far away from me. I could see it in the corner of my eye sometimes, but when I looked directly, it disappeared. When I was in high school, it even locked me in my room when I wanted to visit my friends. The damn thing seemed to want me all to itself and did its best to stop me from making connections. What did it want from me? Why was it following me? And most importantly, what was it and how could I get rid of it? Now, I was in college and decided to go home for Easter. As I drove to Heaven's Gates, I saw the slow ebb of the shadow creature in the back seat. I slammed down the brakes, my head crashing into the steering wheel, and a feeble cry escaped my lips. The airbag exploded from its hiding place, and I felt the soft cartilage of my nose snap. A warm liquid ran down my face and into my mouth. I sat there in pain as my confusion, shock, and anger brewed. This goddamn creature already made my life unbearable, filling me with anxiety and fear. And now it wanted me dead. My hands shook as I pushed back the airbag and gripped the steering wheel, my chest heaving as I fought to maintain my composure. I would not let that fiend break me. I would not let that fiend break me. I would not let that fiend break me. What do you want, goddammit? Ever since I moved to Heaven's Gates, All you've ever wanted was to make me more miserable than I already was. I'm damn tired of you. I screamed, slamming my fist on the steering wheel. The creature made a strange sound, like glass being filed down before it disintegrated in a flash. Angry and exhausted, I continued on my way back home. The first thing that should have warned me that all was not well was when I saw the gates were wide open. They were never left open, and there was a list of who was allowed in. The place even had its own special delivery service. That's how much outsiders were resented. But I took no serious notice of this and drove up my family's driveway. I turned the bronze doorknob and entered the house, and what I saw made my blood freeze. The creature lay on the ground, undulating and pulsing as though it were dying. I tried to warn you, it said with much difficulty, as though the human language was not meant for its vocal cords. I tried to protect you. I am a failure. I failed. A cold bead of sweat ran down my forehead. What do you mean? Warn me from what? I whispered, fearful that whatever had taken down this fearsome creature was still around. From the it said a word no human tongue would ever be able to pronounce, but the meaning was clear. The word itself unsettled my spirit, as though I had heard something so taboo, so obscene, so vile, that even my inner being was repulsed without fully knowing why. They took control of your friends from high school. That's why I stopped you from going. Those times, I took a step back, begging my legs not to keel at this terrible moment in time. As I watched, a large, nervous ripple went through the creature. They're here. Find my people. Tell them. Tell them it said another unpronounceable word, but this one filled me with an odd sense of peace, and my soul hungrily took it in, like a parched man drinking his fill from an oasis. Failed. They will protect you. You are our last chance. It shuddered one last time before it whispered. Just then, Miss B came down the stairs. Her skin was dry, cracked and ashy, with her eyes sunken deep into her skull. Behind her were other residents of Heaven's Gates, and they were in a similar condition to Miss B. My once friendly neighbor smiled at me. "Won't you join us, dearie? We've been waiting for you," she said in a sing-song voice, trying to be sweet. I wasn't going to be fooled that easily. I could see the silvery shadows that pulled their strings. The vibe they emitted was 50 shades of wrong. I backed away when I saw my parents' lifeless bodies draped on the landing banister. I felt tears prickle behind my eyes, and my knees threatened to buckle. I couldn't believe they were gone. Just like that. It couldn't be. It just... Go! The shadow creature shrilled. Run. I'll give you some time. As I turned and ran, I saw the creature burst into large, deadly spikes, skewering a few of the... I dry-heaved, remembering the name. I ran down the beach, to the sea, somehow knowing where I would find the shadow creature's people. That shadow had been protecting me all this time, and I had been so ungrateful and spiteful. It turns out that I had been afraid of the wrong thing all this time. Maybe if I had seen the telltale signs, like the light stench of rot and decay that the latest designer perfumes couldn't cover, maybe I could have done anything to save my parents. The sound of alien, angry shrills filled the air. The residents had killed my protector, and now they wanted to kill me. I would not let them. I would not let my protector's death be in vain. I just knew I had to help the shadow creature's people find a way to stop those vile beings. I flung myself into the roiling waves, feeling safe as they pulled me further away from the shore and deep beneath the surface. As I sank further into the deep blue waves, I saw a mass of shadow creatures pulsate. They called to me in their strange tongue, and I felt nothing but peace when their inky blackness wrapped around me.